Hey guys, it's Gary, and I am back at you with another legal tip on appraisal. So, anytime I do a legal tip that results in emails, phone calls, text messages, I feel like I've really done a good job of getting at something that people need to know about or have a lot of questions about. And last week I posted a video from Monument Valley, Utah. And in that video, I talked about the appraisal contingency. And I got lots of emails, phone calls, and text messages, and I really appreciated every one of them. The video we did talked about the appraisal contingency. And the issue was, if the contract is contingent on appraisal, the house appraises for the sales price, but in the appraisal, they require certain repairs. Does that mean that the contingency fails, or does that have nothing to do with the contingency? I took the position last week that the appraisal contingency does not fail, because the appraisal contingency says that the property must appraise for the sales price. It did. The appraisal then noted repairs. That has nothing to do with the appraised value. So when you look at the appraisal contingency, it's not a contingency on the appraisal being clean like a CO 100. It's, does it appraise for the value? Now, a lot of people emailed and said, yeah, but the appraised value is based on the fact those repairs are getting done. And that there were very valid questions. So I said no and yes at the same time, with typical lawyer answer, yes and no, right? And the reason it's yes and no is that when you look at most of these appraisals and they come back and say 200,000 appraised for the value, here are the repairs. The repairs that they're asking for have no value in them. They do not bring value to the property. Typically what they are is cosmetic issues. Peeling paint was what one agent told me they had seen, or a railing is loose, the railing needs to be tightened, there needs to be a screen door or window put on, there's missing the screen, the door, the lock is not working, so it needs to be fixed. Those things have no value in them. Those are simply maintenance issues or code issues and things of that nature. So they have no value on that appraisal. Now, I could see an issue where they come back and say the house is appraised at 200,000, provided these renovations are done. Certainly that would have something involved. Rarely do you ever see that unless you're doing some type of renovation type loan, or construction repair or rehab loan. But there could be a case where they say the house appraises 200, provided the heating and air is replaced, or provided the roof is fixed or replaced as well. Now, that brings another issue, because does those issues really bring value to the house, or are those also maintenance issues? If I have a house and I put a brand new roof on it, do I get a bump up in the appraisal? I don't know. You guys would have to tell me that. If I replace the heating and air system, does it make my house more valuable? I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I mean, everybody expects to have a heating and air and a roof on the house. But if the house has got a newer heating and air versus a 10 or 15-year-old heating and air, does that put true value in the property? Perhaps it does. And that would be the situation where you could say, okay, well, this does not make the appraisal contingency, because the only way it appraises is if this new heating and air system is put in, and that is of value. But 95% of the time when we see these issues on the appraisal, it's really just cosmetic issues, and therefore it does not affect value. So therefore it's outside of the contingency. All right. I hope that explains it more. Y'all continue. Please send me the emails, the text, the phone calls when you have any questions about any podcast or any legal tip we do. Check out this week's podcast, by the way, because it is a great podcast on who has to be at closing and what happens if you cannot attend closing, and all the different ways that closing can happen if you cannot attend. So everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.